It's okay, I really speak loud, so I think you guys heard me. Good morning, Garden family. My name is Cynthia. I was about to say I wish I was a kid so I can join Kingdom Movement. That looks so fun. So, I'm very new to the Garden Church. I don't think I've met everyone yet. I've been coming out for about 10 months. So, just a brief introduction to myself. I grew up in a Catholic home. My understandings of God at an early age, I think, were my misinterpretations of my catechism classes. I thought God was very strict and mean and didn't really want to get to know him, didn't really care to seek him, just because I thought I had to be obedient in order for him to love me. So it wasn't until I was 18 and I just got out of a bad relationship. I had believed the lies of the person that I was dating. At the time, he would tell me I had no worth and that I was difficult to love. At the time, it really affected my self-esteem. It made me feel like I was truly unlovable. Sorry, I had to take a pause. But I had some neighbors that had a small church, and they invited me to join their youth ministry. And that's where I really met God. I was introduced to a new church family, and I made many friends who genuinely expressed their care for me and displayed such love and reminded me that through God's eyes, I was beautifully made and just how much God loves me. In the spring of 2016, that's when I finally made the decision to accept Christ, and it was probably the best decision I'd ever made. God had definitely filled my heart with love, and the world around me was beautiful, and this was probably the happiest time of my life. I had an amazing church family, amazing friends by my side. However, I was 19, and I was very much a hopeless romantic. I met a boy, and well, that's kind of where the story heads south. I was stuck between choosing between this newfound community or dating someone that was riddled with red flags. Being the stubborn girl that I was, I chose to take all that I had won in this new life, and I placed it all on the line, betting on a losing hand. So when the relationship ended, I was devastated. I was heartbroken. The love that once burned in me was now anger and disappointment. I tried to go back to the church, but I was full of shame, and I had a hard time opening up to anyone because I was feeling really embarrassed. I refused to engage in the community, to be a part of the church. I didn't want these friends anymore. I was hurt, and I pushed away anyone that tried to come close. Unfortunately, it was hard for me to be alone with God, so I gave up completely. I let myself go emotionally, physically. I was spiraling down a destructive path. My newfound friendships, the people that I would hang out with, they weren't good influences in my life. They didn't know God, and I didn't care to know God anymore. So of course, no one was sharpening any iron. They didn't care for me just like I didn't care for them, and the only reason I befriended these people was just so I could silence the loneliness. I was in a dark place. I had quit my job. I dropped out of school. I didn't know what I was doing with my life. My mental health depleted. I was depressed, anxious, and angry all the time. Then the pandemic hit, and we all know how hard that was. I was already lonely, and I didn't think I could feel any lonelier. I went through the pandemic without a support group, with no friends. Feel bad for my sister. She was the only person I talked to that whole year. Then, in December 2020, I caught COVID, and I was terrified. The following month, in January 2021, they had found a lump in my throat. I'd begged my mother not to tell anyone. I asked her, just to keep it between us. But of course, my mother wanted to tell my grandparents, and they told other people, and those people told other people. And before I knew it, I had long-distance relatives, my old church, and even strangers all reaching out to me, telling me that they were lifting me up and praying over me. I felt very shameful. I just didn't like knowing people. I didn't like people knowing that I didn't have my life under control, that I was at rock bottom. It also angered me that I wasn't doing anything to help myself. I didn't like wallowing in pity and having others lift me up. I don't like feeling weak. So I decided to go to therapy because that was the best thing for me to do to help myself. I didn't seek a Christian therapist, but I was blessed with one. So I was able to talk about my struggles, especially my spiritual battles. My therapist understood how I felt about returning to a church. So he just asked me to start by praying, and that was way scarier, so I decided let's look for a church. that's how I found the garden, and that's how it was placed on my path. It's actually always been on my route. I really enjoy taking north off because I like the way the road at the end winds. So I always pass by this church. And then I saw during the summer of 2021 that there was online services. So I decided, okay, let me go ahead and just spectate a while before jumping back into a church. I watched online, and the first sermon I saw was Pastor David's sermon on the Lord's Prayer. It was already moving, but it was the last 10 minutes of the sermon when Pastor David acknowledged that the next thing he was about to say were for some of the ears listening. Pastor David continued to say that there were some of us that were out there that were still bitter towards God, that we had anger and we were holding on to past hurts. Pastor David asked us to go ahead and release that it was time to let it go. In that moment, I cried a lot, but I think it's because I recognized that that was the Holy Spirit talking through Pastor David to me. So I told myself, okay, the next week I'll come out to in-person sermon. And I was nervous and I was scared. I didn't know if I would belong. I didn't know if I would fit in. I was very intimidated to return to a church. But that first Sunday that I came in, Kathy Wong, shout out to Kathy. Sorry. I was trying to look for her, but shout out Kathy. Kathy was the first person that actually came up to me and she welcomed me. And she's so warm, and if you haven't met Kathy, she's amazing. And she brought me into the church and she asked me, where do you want to sit? And I said, in the far back, I want to hide. I didn't tell her that, but in my head, I was like, far back. But of course, I was like, Kathy, you choose. Tell me where to sit. And so she brought me out to the very front, and that's now my favorite seat in the house. The following week, I came back. I came a little early, so I was awkwardly waiting in the hallway. And Diane came in, and she saw me, and she just came up to me. She was like, hi, how are you? And gave me this big old bear hug. Diane didn't know this, but my love language is physical touch. So going through the whole pandemic being touched to pride, I didn't realize how bad I wanted a hug. And when Diane hugged me, it just felt so great. But yeah, shout out Diane, you're awesome. Best hugs ever. Later that Sunday after sermon, I actually got to meet John Lee. Shout out to John Lee. He introduced me to BTS. Kidding. Shout out to John, because John has been one of the coolest CG leaders ever. In every G event I attended, he was always first to welcome me and always tried his best to introduce me to some of the other young adults. Through the G events, I had the opportunity to meet two amazing women. I met Angie and Erica Alberto. Shout out to Angie and Erica. I am beyond thankful for the friendship we have, and super, super lucky to be blessed with sisters that are so open and are so willing to let me be open with them. I also got to meet Cherry. Thank you, Cherry. So shout out to Cherry. Thank you, Cherry, for always walking at my pace and always giving me words of encouragement when we go hiking. Through Gia and CG, I've met many people, all who have been so kind and so loving. Quick shout outs to Alexis, Rebecca Perez, Heidi, Rebecca, Jules, Lois. I've had chances to connect with each and every one of you, and I truly appreciate those moments. Summer of serving brought me opportunity to meet a lot of the church body. Shout out to my ESL team. I've met the wonderful Susan Hong, Michelle Chang, and Juana Perez, who have all encouraged me to speak Spanish, even though I'm really bad. They've all encouraged me, and that summer I was reminded just how much I missed having sisterhood. So shout out to my amazing team that summer, Alicia, Dorothy, Phoebe, Rebecca. It was a fun summer, and I was so blessed to serve alongside all of you. And then, of course, I want to shout out my amazing mentor, Irene Kim. You are so patient with me, and you are so kind, and you've helped me a lot throughout my journey. And then, in general, there has been other interactions, and I just want to shout those people out. You guys have been so kind, just coming up to me, saying hi, or just welcoming me into the church. I just want you guys to know that that was truly appreciative. And the reason why I'm shouting everyone out is because I wanted to acknowledge and recognize just how simple the act of kindness and genuineness displayed in each and every one of you has really reminded me just how much I miss having a community. I mean, no one planned this. It wasn't coordinated. No one expected my arrival and said, Cynthia's going to walk in through that door. Let's just tackle her with love. So I know now that I can't do life without a community. I can't pursue God without his people around me. I am beyond grateful for every single person I've met so far, and now I hope I can be that person for others. I hope that many people who are searching for a place to belong walk in through those doors, those who are broken, those who are lost, that just need love. And I hope I'm right alongside all of you, ready to welcome them with open arms. Because it's not easy being on this uphill path alone. It's steep and it's challenging. But I have Cherry by my side, and she's walking at my pace, reminding me that I can do this. Irene Kim is there, and she's holding the map and guiding me in the right direction. John Lee's there, bumping BTS, ready to celebrate. My friends, Angie, Erica, Alexis, my CG group, the church body. You guys are the support group that I've needed. And I want to walk this path with you guys. I want to do life with you guys. I love doing life with you guys. It's definitely better, and we're definitely better together. Thank you.